Hi, everybody. I want to take a moment to explain the difference between a movement along a demand curve versus a shift in demand. This is a topic that often proves challenging for students. The same idea applies to shifts and movements along the supply curve, but we're going to just focus on demand for now. So the difference is one of causality, and particularly the causality involving price. A movement along a demand curve is caused by a change in price. A shift in the demand curve results in a price change. So there's a very important distinction there. One of them, the price change is the cause, and then in the other, the price change is the result. So with a movement along the demand curve, remember that the demand curve represents the combination of prices and quantities that consumers are willing to consider for a particular product. If you give me a new price, if you give consumers a new price, they will tell you the new quantity that they want to purchase at that price. Versus a shift in demand, which something happens. It could be a variety of things. It could be a change in income, could be a change in prices of related goods, could be expectations, could be tastes and preferences. But you get some sort of change. And then because of that change, people's willingness and possibly ability to pay for the good in question changes, right? So if you get an increase in income, and assuming that we're talking about a normal good, you can now afford to pay more for something. Or, to think of it another way, you can afford to buy more at that same price. Okay? So the increase could happen one of two ways, and probably in reality a combination of the two. It could be an increase in price. It could be an increase in quantity, right? But again, it's probably going to be some combination of the two. And so this distinction is important to keep in mind because sometimes students will get themselves into almost a logical loop where something will happen. So let's say it's a change in income, right? Let's say you get somebody gets a raise at work, and we're talking about a normal good. And so because of this raise, the demand curve shifts to the right. Consumers, or at least this particular consumer, is willing to pay more for the good in question, so the price rises. Oh, but then because the price rose, students think, well, that's going to decrease the quantity demanded. But that's not what's happening. The price is rising specifically because of the increase in demand. You're not going to have an offsetting effect because of this higher price. If you're going to have an offsetting effect, the price wouldn't have gone up higher to begin with. So it's important to keep those two things straight. And that when one happens, the other isn't happening. Right? And again, remember that causality when it comes to price. Price is either causing the change, and we don't know what caused the price to change. Maybe producers are just out there searching for the correct price. Maybe it's a price control by the government. Whatever the reason, there is a price change in the market, and then consumers react by moving along their demand curve. Okay? Versus something else happening, something demand related, and then there being a shift in the demand curve that results in a higher price. Hopefully that helps to clear up that topic a little bit. One thing to keep in mind if you ever see like a multiple choice question on this is that if it's asking about the price of a particular good, it's going to be a movement along the demand curve. It's not going to shift the demand curve. So just something to watch out for.